And I think it's also a necessary part of the journey because the more it's scary, right? You start to bump into all your fears, all your shadows, all your doubts so that you can overcome them. So I think it's a necessary part of the journey. And like you say, it's beautiful to see that collectively, that's where we're all sort of stepping into right now. And so
Mm-hmm.
you see different language being used and you see different types of imagery being used and stepping away from the bubble baths and private jets and all, all that, right? The champagne glasses.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, aka your business bestie. I teach female coaches, speakers, and course creators to release procrastination and perfection so that they can get more done, book more clients, and have the time freedom that all entrepreneurs crave. This is not your typical business coaching podcast. We're talking about business, life, probably some wooey magic, and probably some singing or referencing song lyrics along the way. So if you're into business building, making more money, and getting a little bit of a mindset shift along with having a good laugh, you're definitely in the right place. I've grown 3 businesses from $0 to consistent 4 and 5 figure months over the last 15 plus years. And now I'm helping you do the same thing. It didn't happen overnight, and it certainly didn't happen without the help of others. They say it takes a village to raise children, and I believe it takes a village to grow a business as well. So in this podcast, you'll find people who help you grow your village, cheer you on, as well as holding you accountable. I'm so excited you're here, and I can't wait for you to listen to each episode. Let's dive in. Good morning or happy day to you. Welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, and today I have Heather McGregor on with me. I'm so excited to have her here. Heather, I'm going to have you give an introduction, tell us who you are and who you serve.
Thank you so much, Maggie. So my business is called Quantum Tones, and I have quite a story of how I ended up here with lots of chaos before I got to the clarity. So it's perfect. And still chaos, but anyway, we know how to navigate it differently. So primarily I work with coaches and consultants and people who are selling something that is of them, their body of work, their service. And I help them to really clarify their content and understand how to create marketing that is from a soul level as opposed to a template and a script, and it has to be this way and that kind of stuff. So I really help people pull content out that is true to them, true to their soul, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the work that I do.
Cool. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And I feel like that's so important right now more than ever. There's so many coaches, consultants, speakers out there, which is amazing. But now it's time to take that next level and stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's noisy out there.
It
And
is.
so, for me, it's been about following all of that stuff that you learn in the beginning and trying to fit yourself into it and fit your content into it and make sure it all looks like the same cookie cutter. It's not effective anymore. So like you said, it's time to stand out. And so that's really the work that I'm passionate about. And it's really about getting in touch with yourself, right? It's
Yep.
understanding the rules of business and understanding all that stuff, but then coming back home to self and putting that out into the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel that for myself. I also feel that with my clients and kind of this collective shift in the whole community, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody's kind of starting to realize like, oh, I can do this for myself. I can speak the way I want to speak. I don't necessarily have to fit this mold, right? Like I can
Yeah.
step out of those boundary lines and I can really do what I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. And it makes my
Mhm.
heart sing.
Yeah, yes. And I think that's
Yeah.
really important, right? When you step into business, you're stepping into this idea of like, yeah, I can go against the grain and I can do something that's not a 9 to 5 or, that corporate style that, like I want something different. And I
Yeah.
think that's important as you start to realize that, and then you start to speak about what it is you love, what you're passionate about. I think that's so important to really utilize your own voice.
I totally agree. And I think it's also a necessary part of the journey because the more it's scary, right? You start to bump into all your fears, all your shadows, all your doubts, so that you can overcome them. So I think it's a necessary part of the journey. And like you say, it's beautiful to see that collectively, that's where we're all sort of stepping into right now. And so you see different language being used, and you see different types of imagery being used, and stepping away from the bubble baths and private jets and all that, right? The champagne glasses.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And really, and part of that for me is also about owning what you want. And it might not look like what anyone else wants. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So do I. I feel like at least over the last week or so, I've had some just major breakthroughs in my business as far as like what I want it to look like and how I'm navigating into the coaching space. And I've had some of those big breakthroughs of like, well, wow, I can really help people step into what it is they want. And we don't necessarily need more strategy, right? Like a lot of people are like, I'm strategied out. Like, please don't give me another strategy. And taking some of that feedback that I've gotten from past clients, from some of the Facebook groups that I'm in, a lot of people, they want accountability, and they want someone that will kind of walk beside them and say, okay, here are a few options. Which one sounds best to you? And how do you really want to fine tune this so that it works for you?
Yeah. Yeah. A large part of what I do is help people get present and be in their body. And for me, it's exactly what you said. Like, we've spent so much time learning and putting our minds into this future vision that we want, and we forget about the present where everything you need is happening. Right. And so that's a large part of the work that I do. And when you talk about chaos to clarity, that for me has been huge, because my mind was always traveling forward, and I'm learning and gathering all this information from my head, and my body's like, what about me? Come back to me.
Yeah. And I think, and I still teach yoga, right? I used to own a yoga studio. And that really taught me how to get present, like within myself. And I was able to help others get present during class, right? And just like having that ability to like take 5 minutes, even 1 minute, right? To like sit and just like come back to like, okay, what am I feeling in my body? What am I feeling in my fingers? What am I feeling in my toes? And, like get really present, like in the here and now. And like, okay, I'm present in my body. I feel my fingers. I feel my toes. I feel all these parts of my body. And okay, what is the next step that I need to take today, right now,
right now.
Right now. And I think that is so important to come back to that. That's where like, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, manifesting will never work. And I'm like, well, and right. And right. Like manifesting can work, but you also have to take the action. So, right. Like seeing that future self and coming back to the present self. And what is my next action for today? Right. Like those little
unlearning what we've been taught manifestation looks like, feels like, sounds like. We have to unlearn all that so that we can create the space for it to happen right now.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I think, manifestation gets a bad rap, right? Because so many people are like, it doesn't work. I've had clients say,
or it works and it's like so easy.
Yeah. Yes.
You just have to want it and it'll happen.
Yep. You have to want it bad enough. And I'm like, I really want $1 million really bad, but my bank account does not have all those zeros in it.
I think there's a little more to it. Yeah.
And I think, just understanding how I can get clear, right? Just like I can help my clients get clear, understanding that process of like, okay, I want that thing, whatever it is, right? $1 million, a yacht. I don't know, whatever that is. Like, okay, I know what I want, and like, how can I today take one step forward towards that? And then tomorrow I'm going to take another step, and there might be some back steps, but at the end of the day, you still have action of moving forward that feels really exciting to you, to your person.
Yeah. And when you get in touch with your body, for me, what the beauty of that has been, when I get in touch with my body and get out of my head so much, the next step becomes something unexpected often, right? If my mind's figuring it out, it has this pattern and these programs and these ideas of what it's supposed to look like or feel like. But when I let my body come on board, it can guide me. It's like a whole different experience in that I might do something I never would have thought of, but my body's like, hey, this looks good. This feels really good. Let's try this.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then it
Yeah.
feels so much more exciting, right? Your business is like,
Yeah.
that's where it comes in. And people are like, you know, they'll say, oh, if you're an entrepreneur and you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life again. And I mean, being an entrepreneur, you work, but it's joyful work, right? I feel like it's that joyful, and you know, it's not necessarily easy work, but it's easy to show up for, right? It's easy to sit down and say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have all these ideas. I'm going to create this content, or I'm going to make this course, or I'm going to, you know, post here or there. You know, I think that is where that ease comes from.
Yeah. And there's a passion to it. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So my next question for you is, what is something challenging that you have overcome in your business?
For me, I'd have to say the biggest thing has been time. There was a period, and I still struggle with this from time to time, but feeling like there's never enough time. And I would get caught in a loop, get caught in the cycle of there's never enough time. So I'd be rushing. And again, it kind of speaks to what we just talked about. Like my mind is rushing ahead to, well, I have to be here, or I have to be doing this. So how can I get there really quickly? And missing, just like we're saying, missing what the next step is, because I'm already off in the future because I'm stressed. I don't have enough time. I'm never going to get it done. I'm not going to pay my bills, all the. And so that has been a big struggle for me. I'm also an Aries, so I move quickly and I like things to be done. So bringing that into it with all the stuff you do as an entrepreneur and running your own business has created chaos for me.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be my biggest struggle. To manage it, it's just like we were talking about, like coming back to the present, like really using my breath to be present in my body. And what I learned is when I do that, when I really get here now and understand that what needs to be done is going to get done, or it's not, it's okay. And learning to listen to my intuition that says, this is the thing to do next. And rather than, I've got 25 things to do before the end of the day. And I'm not going to lie, I still have those moments, but I have the tools more available when I notice that I've gone off into that pattern again.
Yeah. And I think that's so important to hear, right? As people are coming into entrepreneurship, coaching, whatever it is they're coming into, to know that like, I'm having all these struggles. It's like these silent struggles that you have as an entrepreneur. And then to hear other people say, well, I have that too.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years, and I still struggle with time management, right? Like there are days where I'm like, I am so busy. How am I ever going to get this done? And I'm thinking about like, oh, I have to pick up the kids. I have to make dinner. I have to do all this, instead of focusing on the present, right? And then nothing really gets done because I've
totally
right. I'm worried about what future me is doing. You know, instead of just stopping and like literally coming back to my body and saying, okay, I've got these next 20 minutes that I can accomplish one thing. Choose one thing. Here are 3 options, choose one and go with it.
And I often find when I do that it gets done so much faster.
Yes.
And so much better because my focus is present. I'm here rather than over there trying to do this here. And,
right. Yes. Yeah. I totally agree. So what is one piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
I would say, if it doesn't get done, it's okay. Like that for me is a big one. And again, it comes back to, you know, the mind thinking, I have to do this and I have to do that, and putting all the stress and pressure on myself. Whereas, like we were just saying, when I take that pressure off, just that little piece off, then what I'm doing right now gets done way quicker. It gets done way better. It's more effective and all that stuff. So I would say, you know, take the pressure off, the time pressure off. If it doesn't get done, it's okay. And
Yeah.
what I need to get done will be done better if I don't have that pressure on myself.
Right. I
Yeah.
love that so much. And I think it's so important to remember, right? Wherever you are in your entrepreneur journey, that like it's okay. It will get done. It will eventually get done. And like
Yeah.
the more you pile on, the more stressed you're probably going to be.
Yep.
And like take some of those stones off, remove the pressure. Like you don't have to carry the weight of the world.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you don't have to carry the weight of the world. It's okay to set some of that stuff down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thankfully. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So my last question today is it's a fun one. It's probably my favorite. If you were a kitchen utensil or gadget, what would you be and why?
Oh, fabulous question. I have never been asked this one before. What would I be and why? I would be the first thing that came to mind is the rubber spatula that you scrape
Yep.
the cookie bowl with, and make sure you don't miss all the juicy goodness that's at the bottom.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Why? Yeah, and just that reason, like really, I love to dive deep into things. And so that spatula is getting right underneath the surface of the cookie dough that's on the top.
Yeah.
So really diving deep. That I think that that's I can't believe that's what I want to be, but that's it.
I love that so much.
The rubber kitchen spatula.
Yeah. So, and again, it's one of my favorite questions to ask because I think everyone has a different answer. And even if the answer is the same, everyone has a different reason why. And I think that's so important, right? As you're connecting with new clients or new people are coming into your sphere, you kind of get this sense of like, okay, yeah, I can relate to that person. And oh, I like this. And so it's just it's such a fun question.
I think I need to use an image of it now in my marketing because I realized like just as we're speaking, I help people with marketing and content, really creating magnetic stuff. And the reason it's magnetic is because it comes from deep in their own bones, their own body.
Yes.
And that's what the spatula does, goes right in there underneath it all.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. Awesome. Well, Heather, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. I will include all the links in the show notes, but let them know where is the best to connect and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. So Facebook and Instagram are where I primarily hang out online. Heather McGregor is my Facebook profile, but I also have a group called Unleash Your Bold. My business is Quantum Tone. So on Instagram, I am quantum.tone because someone had the one with S. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so excited to connect with you, to support you, and I can't wait to see all of the cool stuff you're doing.
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks so much. It's been lots of fun.
Wow. What a great interview. Thank you so much for showing up here on the Chaos to Clarity podcast. Again, my name is Maggie. I'm so excited to connect with you. You can find all of the information, all of the links below in the show notes for today's interview. And I hope you have the best day ever.